Introduction. Trying to memorize every single learning theory for your exam is basically a recipe for disaster. You don't need to read the whole library. You just need to master the three foundations that show up on every paper. I'm going to break them down so simply you'll never forget them. Let's get into it. These three theories aren't just for exams, they're the backbone of how we actually learn. Whether you're training to be a teacher or just trying to pass your Ed Psych module, you need to get these straight. I've visualized them so you don't have to stress. Here's the thing. Every teaching method you'll ever use traces back to one of these three theories. Reward systems, that's theory 1. Memory techniques, theory 2. Group projects, theory 3. Once you understand the foundation, everything else just clicks into place. So let's break down each one with real examples you'll actually use in the classroom. First theory, behaviorism. Reward it. First up, behaviorism. Think of this as the action-reaction theory. It's all about observable behavior and reinforcement. If you reward a student, they do it again. Simple, right? Think of it like training a dog, Pavlov style. It's the foundation of classroom rewards. But let's go deeper. Behaviorism was pioneered by psychologists like Pavlov and Skinner. They believe that learning is all about changing behavior through conditioning. The key word here is observable. Behaviorists don't care what's happening inside your head. They only care about what they can see and measure. Here's how it works. You give a stimulus, the learner responds, and then you provide a consequence. If the consequence is positive, like praise, a sticker, or extra break time, the behavior gets reinforced. If it's negative, like losing privileges, the behavior decreases. It's that simple. Real-world example time. Ever seen a teacher use a sticker chart? That's pure behaviorism. Little Timmy completes his homework. Boom, he gets a gold star. After 10 stars, he gets a prize. The reward reinforces the behavior and Timmy keeps doing his homework. Or think about classroom management. A teacher says, "Table 3 is sitting quietly, well done." Suddenly, every other table straightens up because they want that praise too. The practical classroom applications are everywhere. Token economies, merit systems, positive reinforcement, even timeouts. They're all rooted in behaviorism. It's especially powerful for building routines and managing behavior. The downside? It doesn't explain the why behind learning. It treats students like black boxes. Input goes in, output comes out, but what's happening inside? That's where our next theory comes in. Second theory, cognitivism. Organize it. Then we shift to cognitivism. This is where behaviorism stops. It's not just about what they do, it's about what's happening inside the black box of their brain. How do they store, organize, and retrieve information? Think of the brain like a computer. Our job is to help them install the software, not just press the buttons. Cognitivism emerged in the 1960s when psychologists realized behaviorism was missing something huge, the mind itself. Cognitivists care about mental processes, things like attention, memory, problem-solving, and how information flows through our brains. Here's the computer analogy. Information comes in through our senses. That's the input. It gets processed through working memory. That's like your computer's RAM. If it's important, it gets stored in long-term memory, your hard drive. But here's the catch. Our working memory is tiny. We can only hold about 7 pieces of information at once. That's why chunking matters. Let me give you a real example. Imagine teaching the water cycle. A behaviorist might drill students with flashcards and reward correct answers. A cognitivist? They'd use a diagram, break it into stages, connect it to prior knowledge like rain and rivers, and teach memory tricks. Like EPIC for evaporation, precipitation, infiltration, collection. Practical classroom applications, graphic organizers, mind maps, mnemonic devices, advanced organizers, basically any strategy that helps students organize and connect information. You're also using cognitivism when you activate prior knowledge at the start of a lesson or when you teach students how to study effectively. Cognitivism recognizes that students aren't passive receivers, they're active processors, but it still treats learning as something happening to them. What if students aren't just processing information? What if they're creating it? That's where our final theory takes us. Third theory, Constructivism, build it. And finally, Constructivism, the heavy hitter. This says learning isn't just about installing software, it's about building your own knowledge. We don't just pour information into students, we give them the tools to build their own understanding based on what they already know. Constructivism flips everything. It says knowledge isn't something you transmit, it's something learners construct themselves through experience. Think of it like Lego. You don't build my castle, you build your own castle using your own ideas and your own blocks. This theory comes from legends like Piaget and Vygotsky. Piaget said kids build mental models, schemas, based on their experiences. When they encounter something new, they either fit it into an existing schema or create a new one. Vygotsky added the social dimension. We learn best through interaction with more knowledgeable others. Ever heard of the zone of proximal development? That's Vygotsky. It's the sweet spot between what you can do alone and what you can do with help. Real-world example. Instead of lecturing about ecosystems, a constructivist teacher might take students outside to observe a pond, ask them to form hypotheses, let them investigate, and have them present their findings. The students aren't just receiving information, they're actively constructing their understanding through inquiry and collaboration. Practical classroom applications, problem-based learning, inquiry projects, collaborative group work, Socratic discussions, hands-on experiments. Anytime students are exploring, questioning, and creating rather than just absorbing. It's messier than behaviorism, harder to measure than cognitivism, but it's incredibly powerful for deep, lasting understanding. The challenge with constructivism? It requires careful scaffolding. Too little guidance and students flounder. Too much and you're back to lecturing. Finding that balance is the art of teaching. In summary, so let's bring it all together. Behaviorism, reward it. Cognitivism, organize it. Constructivism, build it. Behaviorism shapes behavior through reinforcement. Cognitivism unlocks the mind's processing power. Constructivism empowers students to build their own knowledge. The best teachers, they use all three. They reward effort, organize content clearly, and create opportunities for students to construct meaning. If you can remember those three words, reward, organize, build, you've got this exam in the bag. Which of these three do you find the hardest to apply in a real classroom? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more simplified EdPsych breakdowns. See you in the next one.